Right, so firstly, Nick, probably the best place to start the show is with your life after retirement. How are you finding it?
Pretty long. Obviously coronavirus has come on, and don't get me wrong, it's been awesome. I've had probably more time with my kids than I have throughout than I've had when I was playing rugby. So from that point of view, bro, it's been awesome, been brilliant, been able to drop my kids off to school, collect them, go to netball, go to dancing, and then but now, like I said, bro, I'm ready to delve into the new chapter.
Are you missing it at all?
Am I missing rugby?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
No, really?
Not, mate. No, this is the best my body's felt for the last 20 years, mate. Yeah, best body. I actually thought about it, like as you do as a player coming towards your retirement, you think, oh, am I going to miss it? Am I going to miss it? You don't actually know if you are until you're out of it. And if I'm honest, the longer I've been away from it, the less and less I've missed it. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like when I was freshly retired, you got stuff like routine, coffee with the boys, the crack, the change room. So you're naturally you're going to miss that. But yeah, when the further along it got, I was thinking actually, I'm not actually missing it. If anything, I don't miss it at all. But then, like I said, it's the changing room. It's the crack. That's the stuff that you'll always miss, regardless how long you've been retired. And you can speak to any other retired rugby player, bro. That's what you're always going to miss.
And it's funny we say that. Paul Williams actually said a few weeks back that I think when the players returned to the international scene after the game, they found themselves feeling quite fresh because there was such a big period without rugby. And, that's to be expected, isn't it?
100%, mate. That's, people, I guess the normal public eye, people think, that players should just keep playing. That's always a good thing. But people got to remember, like, rest it's as good, if not more important than actually training. Because, mate, some of the collisions that go in the game now, unbearable, mate. I'm happy I got out at the right time, because, bro, you got some boys that are bigger and a lot quicker now. So the impact's a lot stronger. So like people neglect that. Rest is good. It's good, obviously physically, but nowadays with what's happening in the world, I think mentally it's also good, brother.
And I saw an article on Wales Online a few months back saying that you were going to become a bodyguard. Was that true?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say bodyguard. Like, bodyguard's what you see on the Hollywood movies.
The headline, yeah.
I've completed my close protection. That's how we call it. I've completed my close protection training at the end of October. It's something that I always wanted to do before I started playing rugby. But I've said to a lot of people, rugby obviously took the preference for the last 20 years. But the fact that I've been able to go back and do it and still have that fire in the belly for it, is pretty cool and something special. And something I'm looking forward to hopefully delving into, now that I've finished playing professional.
And in terms of being a bodyguard, you come from a pretty big family, being one of 8 children, I believe. Were you almost the bodyguard of the family, almost keeping your siblings out of trouble?
Oof. No, I'll tell you what, mate, that's a myth. The leaders in Polynesian Pacific Island families, the bodyguards, the leaders, the heads of the families, are the mothers.
Yeah.
Are the mothers, bro. I promise you, don't matter how big we are, physically, when mum or when grandmother speak, boom, the room goes quiet. The room goes absolutely quiet. So those are the true protectors, and in my family anyway. Even to this day, every time I used to get a yellow card, I'd do something naughty on the field, I'd always know that if I see my phone, my brother or my sisters have messaged me, bro, you have to ring home. Mum wants to speak to you.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, oh, here we go. So doesn't matter how old you are, bro. When mum or grandma cracks the spoon, you know that things are going to get real.
Yeah. Well, the room went quiet for very different reasons when your mother came over to the country, but we'll get onto that later. Let's talk about your family now. I believe you've got a house full of women again. You've got 3 children. I believe they were born in three different countries, your daughters.
Yeah, bro. My oldest, she's an Italian. My middle is Northern Irish. My youngest one is she's the Welsh Dragon.
Yeah.
And then, funnily enough, my wife is she was born in Zimbabwe, and I'm born in New Zealand. So
amazing.
We're like a mini United Nations family kind of thing, bro. So there's lots of love in our household, brother. Lots of love here.
You should sort the EU deal out.
I felt like a James Bond kind of family for the amount of passports we could have, bro.
In a briefcase.
Exactly, bro.
I think a minority of fans don't always realise the impact of a happy family at home can have on a player on the weekends. Has it been a nice escape to sort of, when you retire now, sit down with the children, watch, I don't know, Peppa Pig or something like that, just to relax, you know, and, you know, you're not always going out on the weekends either, you know, you're not always away from the family. Has it been nice to spend time with the family during lockdown?
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Like, there's no structure. You know, everything's off the cuff. Obviously, when the kids were off school, you had to kind of find ways to keep them busy. You had to come up with ways to keep them busy. Not just that, but then, you know, throughout the weekends, instead of the kids watching me on the telly, you know, I'd be playing, you know, Ride the Pony with them in the lounge. You know, it's small things like that people, some people kind of take for granted.
Yeah.
People don't see; they just see us as pieces of meat that run around smashing people. But that's, in my true opinion, that's a byproduct. Rugby is only a byproduct. Well, as soon as you become a family man, anyway. It's once I had my kids, I still loved the game, but I knew it was there. But the real job was at home with my kids.
Yeah.
And as blessed as I was to play the game and for as long as I could play it, once there came, my perception in life kind of changed a wee bit. But it doesn't. I'm not saying that I put rugby on the back burner. I just knew that you know, rugby was here, and then once my girls were born, you know, they were obviously put above it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's. I've always been a true believer in balance. You always got to balance things out, and when they came along, they balanced it out for real.
Yeah, amazing. Looking back at your own early life, things could have been a lot different for you, really, in terms of your career path, because I believe you were more of a rugby league player.
I loved it, bro. Yeah.
Yeah.
You probably seen me do a few shoulder charges in rugby, and that's a bit of muscle memory, bro. But no, like you said, I loved my rugby league up till I was about 15, 16. Circumstances changed, so I had to move, live with my grandmother.
Yeah.
And the high school that I attended only had a rugby team, and hence why I played rugby. So yeah, that was the beginning of it, and I think it kind of worked out all right for me, I'd say.
And your cousin Sonny Bill wasn't too bad in rugby league either.
Yeah, I don't know who you're talking about, bro. he's done really well, bro. Extremely proud of the brother. As is my younger brother as well. You know, he's over in France. You know, he's doing his thing. I was lucky enough they came over for my retirement when I announced it, so it was good to have some family of some sort, some blood family anyway of some sort here when that was announced.
I think I'm going to call this podcast Family Nick Williams. That's what it's going to be about. In terms of your development as a pro rugby player from your days with North Harbour, I believe you played for North Harbour, and then obviously your final match with the Cardiff Blues. What values have you taken away from the game that you've taken into everyday life?
Oh, wow, that's a deep question, brother.
Yeah.
The word that comes straight to mind is discipline. You know, that's the one thing that rugby's definitely taught me. I'm not going to lie, I was a bit naughty when I was in my younger years, you know, and I was lucky enough that I was introduced to rugby at probably it was the right time. You know, otherwise it kind of would have went the other way. Discipline would be up there with one of the values, as is balance. Balance is a big thing. Those are the two things I use, you know, obviously on the field, but I think more so now off the field, especially with with my family. You know, I always tell the kids, you know, you can have fun, but you got to remember there's a fine line, and that's where you got to balance. And then it's up to them to make a decision, really, because at the end of the day, you know, they have to be their own people.
Mm. And I believe you're Auckland born and bred, if I'm correct. The closest you came to a test cap was playing for the Junior All Blacks. Was you close at all to that international stage?
Oh yeah, mate. It was. It's funny because like close. What's that saying? So close yet so far.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was, mate.
Mm.
It was. This team I played for was it was the equivalent of it was like Welsh A, like Wales A team.
Yeah.
Like we called it Junior All Blacks back then. It was New Zealand A, and the next team above it was the All Blacks. So everybody would think automatically, oh, that's actually one step. But geez, it was a bloody huge step, bro. You know? And if I was honest, which I was with myself, I looked at the players that I had ahead of me, and I knew. I said, look, there's about 8, 9 of the boys there, and that was at that period. You know, the New Zealand team were, you know, in the middle of the domination period that they probably still are going through now. Mm. So I made a conscious decision. You know, look, it is what it is. You just got to bite the bullet, and yeah, just got to do what you got to do, really. Hence why I come up here.
And I guess that's why I believe us as Welsh people, or even the Irish, I think is different in England because they've got a history of beating New Zealand, but we haven't beaten New Zealand now for 70 odd years. I think it was 1953, something like that, when it was in black and white. But you see the players that come over here, yourself, Xavier Rush, Philo Tia, you know, you were guys that would walk straight into that Welsh side. And I think that's why we put New Zealand on a pedestal. Does that just go to show the talent pool that New Zealand has and why they're the best in the world?
I would say so, bro. I would say so. It's we got to remember we're a little country on the other side of the world, all by itself. So we've as Kiwis, and there's probably some that probably hate me saying this, we've all had to put all our eggs in the one basket. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And that basket is rugby. You know, there are a few sports coming up here and now, but I mean, if we're honest, if you ask some person off the street about New Zealand, they'll instantly say the All Blacks or rugby. You know, and there is a conveyor belt of talent in New Zealand, and that's why it's the academy system, the school system is so successful, because they're doing something right in New Zealand. The best way I could put it is they worry about the community game as much as they worry about the professional game, and that's where I truly believe that's where culture is made, in the community game. And if you ask about culture in the All Blacks, that's right at the top of the pedestal in the New Zealand team, across all New Zealand teams, really. When I was playing Super Rugby, we were banging on about culture, and that's something that I've tried to drive when I was playing. You know, as the culture of an outfit or organisation. And as a Kiwi, that's probably one thing New Zealand probably has better than, I guess, the rest of the world, is the culture aspect.
Yeah, and it's also the same with the coaches as well. I know over here we're shouting out for a Welsh coach just to stand up and take the Welsh team on, and you know, we're always looking for this Kiwi. You know, we've had Graham Henry, we've had Steve Hansen, Warren Gatland, of course, and now Wayne Pivac. Is it the same with the coaches? Because I remember speaking to Sean Fitzpatrick, and he said before he had his first test, the coach came up to him and said, you know, just remember you're expected to win. And is that the mentality that these New Zealand coaches implement over in the European game?
Yeah, mate. Look, it's something we've been taught at our earlier days playing rugby. The fear of losing outweighs the joy of winning.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Does that make sense to you, bro?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah. So it's so that's, a lot of people think, oh, well, we just want to win. Okay, that's fine. You want to win. That's fine. But you got to have a reason why you want to win. And I guess, like a lot of New Zealanders, a lot of New Zealand teams, their reason of wanting to win is because we just don't want to lose.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It doesn't sound arrogant, does it, bro? Or,
no,
I don't want it to sound.
It sounds correct. Like been to watch Wales New Zealand twice at the Millennium Stadium, and I remember in 2014, Rhys Webb scored a try, and Wales were leading with 10 minutes to go. And I was surrounded by Kiwis, and the woman in front of me just turned to me and said, it doesn't matter, we're going to win. We're going to win anyway.
Yeah.
New Zealand end up scoring 4 tries in the last 10 minutes. And it's like, it's a fine balance between arrogance and just being bloody good.
I know, yeah.
But and I get what you say about you always remember your losses more than your wins, don't you?
100%. Whether you lose by 1 point or 100 points, it's still a loss. And that's what, that's people don't care about the scoreline. They just care that you lost.
Yeah.
And that's the fear. That's what I say. Fear. I don't know. That's the ammunition that we use, as Kiwis use, and probably why it's so successful.
Well, sticking with New Zealand, I believe after your stints with Munster and Ironi, you were thinking about going back to New Zealand, but Mark Anscombe gave you a call from Ulster, and that's where you played your best rugby.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I've been the first one to admit it. It was at Ulster that I played probably some of my best footy. Some people probably won't know that Mark Anscombe was my first professional coach in New Zealand. So my second year at Ironi, things weren't panning out, and I kind of went into my safe bubble. I was like, all right, let's get back to New Zealand, get surrounded by family, some familiar surroundings. And that's when, like how you said, Cowboy, as we know him, he calls me and he goes, mate, get your big Polynesian backside up here in Belfast. And I was a bit tentative, if I'm honest, bro. I was a bit tentative, traveling north because my time in Munster probably wasn't the best. So I was thinking, so anyway, I it was off season, so I went back to New Zealand and I got it back in touch with my trainer from back in North Harbour days, and we worked the house down. And then I went up to Ulster, and like I said, I'd like to think that I played some pretty decent footy up there.
Yeah. Do you ever think back and think if you'd gone back to New Zealand, what could have happened?
I never actually thought that, bro. No, yeah. It's probably because I never thought that because I went to Ulster with an open mind. I didn't go there with oh man, it was all or nothing.
Yeah.
And for me, I was with that mindset that I went there. That's probably why it worked so much, because I knew it was my last shot. I knew it was like, all right, you were average at Munster. You came to Italy for a Mediterranean holiday, and then you need to get back on the horse here with regards to rugby.
Yeah.
And yeah, like we said, it was good times, bro. It was really good times.
Yeah. And you had the likes of John Afoa, Ruan Pienaar, Rory Best as well at Ulster. I think Tommy Bowe might or might not have been there when you were there. Do you think that side underachieved or overachieved?
No, I think we underachieved. We underachieved. My first year, I think we went 14 games unbeaten. So, and then we probably bottled it in the final, to be honest.
Yeah.
We lost in a semi-final to the Series, and then in the Pro 14 final against Leinster, a few things off field, probably didn't go away, and we just I guess we bottled it, if I'm honest. I truly believe that we did underachieve considering the side that we had. We had, like you said, those names that you said. We also had Johan Muller, Stephen Ferris, Paddy Wallace. We had a great team. I tell you that there was that team that was probably as close culturally. The culture in that team was very similar to the sides that I've been a part of in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And which in essence showed in our results. Because everybody was on the same page. Everybody had that same goal that they wanted to work towards to. That's probably why we went quite well that year.
And is there a memory that sticks out from your time in Northern Ireland, or a game or a match?
Oh wow, jeez. Yeah, there's a few. I'll tell you one is I got a day, my wedding day. I got married in my backyard, which backed up onto a beach in a place called Helens Bay in Belfast. No shadow of a lie, it was 25, 26 degrees.
Really?
It was blue skies, and it was an absolute perfect day. Fast forward a couple of months later, some of the boys are like, "Mate, I thought you were getting married in Northern Ireland." And I said, I did get married in Northern Ireland. Because, mate, it looked like you went to a tropical island. I go, well, it was definitely tropical then. So, yeah. Well, all my memories are good on the field, mate. I always have happy memories. But the older I got, the more I probably appreciated the memories I made off the field.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say running over Owen Farrell.
Oh, that goes without saying, bro. Don't worry.
As we know, you signed for the Blues in 2016, I believe. And, you know, it was almost like a family sort of feeling straight away for you as well, because obviously you got the likes of Ray Lee Lowe there, you had the likes of Halaholo, Paolo come back to the Blues as well. It is that Polynesian feel, and it was the family feel with it as well.
Yeah, mate. Like, it goes back to that culture thing. You know, we had the King of Tonga, Whao Felice, here as well.
Yeah, sorry again.
The coach at the time, Danny Wilson. You know, he must have done his homework because he knew what made me click. He knew that, you know, if my wife and my kids were happy off the field, you know, I'd be willing, you know, I'd be keen to go out there and break my body for him. And it worked really, really well. Because if I'm honest, us Polynesians work differently. You know, we're big on family, as you know, as are the Welsh. And that's something that I guess Mark Anscombe brought out of me in Ulster. We look after Nick's family and his kids, and we rely on him to do the damage on the weekend. And it's a very similar approach that Danny Wilson took as well.
And of course, there's that heartwarming video that circulated online, and I watched it again yesterday. I'm not an emotional person. I tell you now, I only cry when Liverpool win something, which is. But honestly, God, I could not stop crying when I watched that video last night. And I believe that the Blues and your wife set that up.
Yeah. It's our defence coach, Richard Hodges. I think it was about maybe 3-4 months planning. They planned it. With my beautiful wife, and my dear, there's only a few times I've been speechless, mate, and that was you obviously seen the video.
Yeah,
I had the old Kim Kardashian cry going on, so I had to try and tuck myself in my hand. You know what I mean? Yeah, mate, extremely grateful, and just so thankful to my wife and Hodgie and the whole organisation at the Cardiff Blues, for making that happen. Because if I'm honest, my mother was never supposed to fly again. What people don't know is she's got nerve damage, in her back.
Same as my partner. She can't fly as well.
That's what I mean. So sitting on a plane for 30 hours, is no good. So my wife obviously contacted my brother in France. My brother in France contacted our family doctor in New Zealand. He gave her the checkup, and he said it was good. So it was literally it was probably one of the most special times I've had off the field in regards to rugby.
And for anyone who hasn't seen the video, you're in a team meeting, and John Mulvihill's talking about the family feel, and he says, "We've got a Christmas present for you." Firstly, a video message from your mother comes up on the big screen, and if you thought that wasn't great enough, turn around and she's standing there, and that must, because you were crying during the video message, that must have been almost a double whammy emotionally when you saw it.
Mate. Yeah, it's so my first language is Samoan, and in the video, people probably won't understand the first 30 seconds. It's all in Samoan, and that hit home really strongly. And you guys saw when I turned around, she's small in size. She's tiny. She's like a gnome, a garden gnome. Yeah. But no, she holds my heart in her hand. So it was extremely special.
But from the outside looking in, you see this giant of a man in yourself, and you can run through brick walls on the rugby pitch, but as soon as your mother arrives, you turn into that little boy again, don't you? And you do, because there's a moment where I think you're just looking at each other, and there's about 5 seconds, and you're just looking at each other dead in the eye, and there's complete silence in the room. And I think if you could bottle one moment in your life, it'd be that moment, wouldn't it?
100%, mate. 100%. Because you don't see that stuff happens on the movies, bro. When that's that kind of stuff. So I've seen it happen to other people, but for it to have happened to myself, it was I just lost for words. But it was so cool. It was so cool. The whole time that she was here, she couldn't talk how happy she was just for for the people at the Blues for making it happen. She was in disbelief as much as I was.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you're right, mate. If I had to sum up, my whole career in a bottle, that'll be right at the top, bro.
Yeah. Another one that might probably be at the top as well is that night in Bilbao with the win over Gloucester. Yeah,
that wasn't bad, bro. Nah, that was pretty cool. Everybody goes to seeing it was, half time. We're down however many points, and we went into the changing room, and the coaches didn't say one word. All of us senior boys, we spoke up, and mate, there were no speeches like any Martin Luther King speeches or anything like that. It was just all simple words.
Yeah.
Okay, boys, let's just go out and do it. Like, let's play, because we were in our shells. We said, boys, we need to get out of our shells and just play our game. And Chicken hit that last kick.
Yeah.
In the last 90 seconds it was, and the rest was history, mate. So that was another moment, like you said, bro. When I think about it, geez, I've had a few good ones here, bro. So I think the Welsh must like me.
Exactly. We love you. We want you to stay. But yeah, I remember that night so clearly. I was up for a journalism award, and the boys behind me, I'd been covering the university rugby team all season. The university boys were up for awards as well. And they were just like, what's the score? What's the score? What's the score? And somebody's about to give an award. I just said, they've won, like that, and the place just erupted. It just completely erupted. I think the person whose award it was must have thought it was for them, but it was for the Blues. And I'm not even a Blues fan. I just thought it was amazing to see a Welsh side win a European trophy. But was they much drunk afterwards?
No, mate. No, we went and saw some museums and some libraries. Yeah. No, I'm not gonna lie, bro. We definitely made up for that victory.
Yeah.
We stayed an extra 2 days.
Amazing.
In Bilbao, which was brilliant. Again, the Cardiff Blues did an absolutely a magnificent job. They brought our wives across. I was lucky enough to have my little Welsh dragon baby there as well. It was actually her first birthday the day that we won it.
Yeah.
So that's always a good reminder. They brought it over, and that was that family feel that I come back to, Nathan, bro. Is that culture, and that week as a whole, because we spent the week there. That week as a whole, you could feel that something special was brewing, and yeah, once that whistle was blown, we realised, this is the special something.
Yeah, exactly. And you would have played alongside in the back row with James Botham and Shane Lewis-Hughes. What have you made of their development and their performances over the last few weeks for Wales?
I like them, bro. They're both of them are like sponges. They just like to soak. They just like to soak up knowledge.
Yeah.
Like probably have more to do with Shane than I had with Jimmy. Jimmy was broken at my time when I was there.
Yeah.
But Shane is he's a product of the future, mate. He reminds me of Dolph Lundgren on Universal Soldier. He's just he's so intense, but he understands that he's got his way, but he understands that for him to progress, he has to take in knowledge. And that's the good thing I like about him. He was never afraid to come up to me and ask me, a few questions. you know what to do here, what to do there. And that was the best thing about it, because you've got a lot of youngsters nowadays that think, oh, you know, I'm the man with the master plan, you know. So it was good for these young cats to come up and ask me for a bit of advice. You know.
Do you like what John Mulvihill's doing with the Blues? Because I've noticed certainly over the last few weeks that the youngsters that are coming through are just on a different level. Ratty as well in the back row has been superb. Do you like what John Mulvihill's doing?
Look, I'm all for letting these young cats have a crack. You know, I personally haven't, like I said, once I retired, I haven't watched much rugby. I haven't seen the boys probably play as much. I just, you know, you hear the general public speak and say this and that. But it's you know, the Blues, I think, are going through a phase where they need to bleed some players through, these young players. And the only place to look, especially with COVID now, is within, you know, like within the region. And like you said, those names that you said, like Ratty, Jimmy, Shane. I was impressed with. I saw one game, the 7, Gwilym. I forgot his name.
Yeah, he was brilliant.
He got yellow carded, and I was impressed about that. I was like, yes, that's how you do it, brother. No, but I was very impressed with him. You know, so look. Every team has how would I say, a process where they have to go through to bring up these young players. It's imperative. You have to, and I think that's the process that they're going through now. I'm no coaching expert. You know, I'll never go there. You know, you go through a few losses to get a few wins. I've been in the game, so I know. You got to be a bit patient. I've got a few people that say some things, you know, to me in public, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, here we go. There's the next coach. There's the next coach for the Lions. So,
there's 4 million of us in Wales.
Oh man, it's brilliant. I just nod my head. I go, yep. Yeah. You're right, brother. So look, it's a phase that they're going through, and. Like I've always said right from the beginning, we just have to be patient. You just have to be patient, and you know it'll eventuate. Not in the 4 million coaches in Wales time. You know, it'll eventuate when the boys start clicking.
Yeah, exactly. And we've spent the last 10, 15, 20 minutes talking about the memories from your career and certain games and certain things that have happened. Yesterday, Steve Thompson revealed that he no longer remembers the 2003 World Cup, and this is all surrounding the court case with the concussion in rugby union. Have you yourself suffered any memory loss during your career?
I wouldn't say memory loss. It would probably be when I'm with my wife, and it's more selective memory loss. You know, those are the times. But look, it's a very fine subject. I'm probably only fresh out of the game. You know, with those boys that were saying that they're struggling and been out of the game a wee while. So, touch wood, it doesn't happen to me.
Yeah.
But like I said, boys are bigger, and the impacts are stronger. So, you know, we've seen all the cases in the NFL, and those boys wear pads. Yeah. Whereas we don't. So it's a very sensitive subject, I know. But that there goes to show that, you know, that the boys aren't just pieces of meat. They shouldn't be treated like pieces of meat. There needs to be safety aspects out there to look after them, not just during the game and not just during their careers. Has to be probably more so post and when they retire. You know, just to have that duty of care, I think it is. Because you got to remember, these boys are throwing their bodies around week in, week out. So we've got to make sure we look after them you know, off the field when they finish.
And well, I suppose the first thing I thought, like the scariest thing for me was, you know, in 2003, Steve Thompson's talking about 2003, and you look at, you know, the size of the players back then compared to now, you know, it's been a longevity sort of thing for him where he has sort of lost his memory over time and has unfortunately had dementia. Players becoming bigger and bigger these days, you know, it could have an impact during a career or straight after, couldn't it?
Oh yeah, mate. Like these are the scary things, and these are things where I look back at now. I'm thinking, oh, I'm really happy I retired.
Yeah,
I retired on my terms.
Yeah,
you know, because yeah, head knocks aren't pretty, bro. You know, and then obviously the older you get, you end up, well, like the majority of us, you end up having families. You know, and the fact that you're going to have a bit of memory loss because of the rugby whilst you have, you know, whilst you're within a family environment, there's very scary, bro. I don't know what's going to eventuate from it, but I hope whatever it does, it is the right thing. You know, because you know, you look at because you think about it, the next generation coming through. You know, if the boys now aren't taken care of, why would they want to play rugby?
Yeah.
And then that becomes a bit scary, because then you possibly would see our game of rugby kind of dwindle away if we don't take care of it now.
And you know, when you talk to all players from maybe the 80s and the 90s, it was always down to the cold sponge, wasn't it, on the back of the head that would
the game.
Yeah.
Oh, you see in the video when Buck knocks out your man, the Welsh bloke.
Yeah.
You know, and then the physio runs on with the sponge to the face, and then he eventually wakes up and he gets given a yellow card, or red card, or whatever it is.
Red card, yeah.
You know, that's the thing. There were no HIAs back in the day. You know, and these are boys. You know, these guys are probably struggling now. You know, and that's why we got to get it right. We got to get it right, bro. Because if we don't, we're going to see a lot more of these cases that are coming up.
And another serious story that came to light this week was the comments on Twitter from Pablo Materia. I think they came out about 8 years ago, and he had a few racist tweets that were, you know, I don't think I'd like to repeat them on here. And Ugo Moni has since come out and says rugby is not doing enough, basically. What's your take on it?
Yeah, I'm with Ugo 100% here, bro. I had an unfortunate event, not directly to myself, where I went and watched the game, and some silly people were saying silly comments, and I was just thinking, and I was in my head, I'm thinking, is this really what it's got to?
Yeah,
really what it's got to. And like Ugo, what's happened is that because World Rugby or Argentina Federation, because they've done nothing about it, and that's why it's got here. You know, we've let it snowball, and you know what used to be at club level or at amateur level, you know, now, you know, yes, it might have been 8 years ago, but now that he's on an international stage, because we've allowed it to snowball from amateur level, and it's got up to the professional level, just shows probably how poorly, you know, the World Rugby or whoever it is has treated it. Because he's like, forget rugby, bro. Forget rugby. You know, I find it absolutely disgusting. You know, my wife, she's a what's the best way to explain it? She's a white Zimbabwean, so we're a bilingual couple. You know, and we teach our kids. Our kids don't see color. Yeah, they don't see that. And the thing is, we didn't have to teach them. Yeah, you know, I truly believe, and people might disagree or agree, but you're taught to think that way. You're taught to know that. You know, kids don't know anything. They have to be taught it. You know, so I don't see any. You know, it might have happened 8 years ago. Oh, he's apologized. I was going, bro, nah, that's because the damage has already been done, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the sad thing about it. The damage has already been done. You know, so that's my views on it. I'm with the bro. Something has to be done. A bit like the concussion thing. Something has to be done, bro. Otherwise, our next generation won't want to play. They won't want to get themselves involved, and then we'll see our wonderful game of rugby eventually dissipate to nothing.
What do you think can be done then? Because you look at the football last night, the PSG game where the players, you know, both walked off the pitch, which I thought was amazing because, you know, you say take sport out of it, PSG, you know, going for the last 16 of the Champions League, but that gets taken out of it. We're walking off the field in solidarity with the other side. And there was also another incident at Millwall. I think rugby supporters look at football and they perceive that to be the sport that's full of racism. But do you think rugby acts as if, you know, almost like his shit doesn't smell?
Oh, 100%, bro. Like I said, that incident that I had, I knew there was an underbelly of it happening. But we just, like I'm saying myself now, because I'm in the rugby umbrella as well, we just thought, oh, okay, it's happening somewhere else. It hasn't involved me directly. Oh, it's all right. Do you know what I mean, bro? So, you know, that's how we act about it. I don't know. I don't know how do we, but the thing is, we need to act on it. You Now the acting bit, I'm no world leader specialist. I don't know how to act on it, but the thing is, it needs to be acted on. You know, I'm not going to go into whatever punishments, like suspensions. I don't know, bro.
Yeah.
You know, but the thing is, World Rugby need to grasp it, bro.
Yeah.
You know, they need to, because, you know, the world's full of different shapes and sizes, colours, religions, you know, and that's the best thing about rugby. You know, anyone can play it, no matter what background, no matter what religion. But if we start doing this stuff, bro, you're literally going to have no one wanting to play the game.
Yeah.
You know, and the wonderful thing about rugby is, I guess, is we don't play for the money.
Yeah.
You know, you play for the love of the sport.
Mm.
You know, and that's the best thing about it, bro. So let's not get away why our sport's been played. You know, and someone needs to act on this racism stuff, this concussion stuff, bro, because it needs to happen now. Otherwise, we never know what's going to happen.
Mm. I don't know if you want to go into the incident, but was it in New Zealand or was it in the UK?
It was here, bro. Yeah.
Is there a difference in the way it's treated over there back home rather than in the UK?
I'm not blowing smoke up New Zealand's ass, but we don't know what racism is. You know, it's a very young country.
Yeah.
All we see is on the TV. You know, people think they're hip hop artists in New Zealand because of what they see in America. The influence in New Zealand, and people come out in New Zealand and try to do it. I'm like, bro,
it's real dark.
Yeah, it's like, bro, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane, bro. You ain't him. He's not you. Okay, Denzel Washington's in America. He's not in Auckland. You know, that kind of thing. So, yeah, if I'm honest, I didn't. I probably, you know, I'd heard of it in New Zealand, but I'd never experienced it. And don't get me wrong, when I got it here, I was like, what an absolute idiot. Yeah. What an absolute idiot. And I automatically thought, I knew straight away, I was like, you know what? I know for a fact it's not everyone in that crowd. It's just the one dickhead that's gone and ruined it for everybody else. So yeah, look, it's been dealt with. Supposedly, I hope it has been. And like I said, it just needs to be acted on, bro. But not once has it taken away my love for the Welsh people. Yeah. You know, you people aren't too bad, bro.
Cheers, mate. Too bad. Well, hopefully the game can clean itself up as soon as possible, mate, because, you know, it's getting a joke at the minute. Before you go, Nick, is it okay if we finish with a quick fire round?
Sweet, brother.
Brilliant. Right. So firstly, who's the best player you played with?
I won't go Kiwi. I'm going to go Pina. Ruan Pina.
Ruan Pina. Best player you've come up against?
Richie McCaw.
God, that every week people say that. Best friend in rugby?
Best friend in rugby? Nigel Owens.
Hey, don't do that now. Your favourite coach?
Favourite coach? Probably to be, we'll say Cowboy. Mark Anscombe, yeah.
Best match you've been involved in?
Best match I've been involved in recently, Bilbao.
Worst drinker you played with?
Gareth Anscombe.
The two Anscombe.
He's pathetic.
Biggest troublemaker on and off the field?
Biggest troublemaker? Lewis Jones.
Lewis Jones, really?
Oh, yeah.
The boy.
Yeah.
Finally, if you weren't a rugby player, what would be your dream job?
Close protection.
Yeah. But Nick, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, mate. It's been a great laugh, and we've talked a lot about a lot of issues, and we talked about a lot of good times as well. And hopefully, you have a great career and wherever you go into in the future, and hopefully we can get you back on in the future.
Top man, thank you, brother.
Thanks, Nick. Have a good day, right, mate?
Cheers, bro.
Cheers, mate.